What's going on, guys? It's Nav Sultan, and this is Sultanic Thoughts. And today I'm going to make a video about broken women because this one is very important. Why it's very important is because a lot of women out here right now are extremely broken, and they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, listening to other broken women give dog shit advice on what to do in your relationships. And a lot of you guys are going to really like this video. It's going to be very helpful, but it might also be a little bit hard to accept, but that's what it's all about as a man. You got to accept the hard truth. And the thing to understand about broken women is that you, as a guy who actually loves this girl and likes this girl, wants to help her, wants to fix her, right? But she doesn't want to be fixed. She doesn't want to be fixed. She would rather go out and find the guy who doesn't know she's lying. Once you really get down to the deep, you know, the deep end of her personality and her habits, and you kind of see how she's broken, she does not want you to start fixing her. As you try to fix her, she's going to pull away, pull away, and pull away because there's pain behind her brokenness. There's unhealed emotion behind her brokenness. There's grief from past relationships that she hasn't fully processed. She may have gotten her heart broken. And instead of sitting there and processing it and really dealing with the grief and taking some time off, she ran to dating apps. You know what I mean? She ran to Instagram. She went and tried to find a distraction because emotions, pain, especially, you either suppress it, you know, uh, distract yourself, cope, or you express it, right? You see some of the best music, some of the best artwork that's done by man or women always comes after pain. They lose a child, they lose a parent, they lose a relationship, and that pain needs somewhere to go. These women did not deal with their pain. They've suppressed it. They went out partying, you know what I mean? They went out dating apps, hookups, rebounds, back to old exes, this and that. And it's what's keeping them broken. It's what's keeping them broken. They're not facing themselves. They're not facing themselves in a way that will allow them to process it because it's too much for them. And the longer they've spent suppressing it, the more intense it gets, right? And, these broken women, too, they're always in between two guys. The ex who destroyed them, who, it was usually a guy who she fully gave herself to openly without the games. And, it didn't work out. And um, she lost a part of herself. And that guy owns that part of herself in her head. She actually has to get in touch with that self, but she's not going to do the work, right? She hasn't done the grief. And, usually these guys, these exes, are the reason why these girls have hoe phases afterwards. The hoe phase is nothing more than I'm in pain and I need whatever I can find out there to help me, you know, cope and distract with the pain. And the second guy that these broken women are in love with at all times is this guy in the future who she doesn't know what his name is, doesn't know what he looks like. Maybe he might have an ideal image of what he looks like, but it's this future guy that she believes is the one who is going to read her mind all the time, who is not who's not going to set boundaries, who's not going to hold her accountable, who she can basically be who she is, broken around this guy, and have the love, the guy who takes her on trips, vacations, financially secure. She's basically thinking there's this 0.001% guy out there who's gonna love her for exactly how broken she is. It's a delusion, and it's a big reason why a lot of women out here are, 30 something plus, 40 something plus, and they can't find a man. They stay single. They're in the kitty litter aisle of Walmart, stacking up. And it's a sad thing, but you as a man, you have to protect yourself from these women because they are emotional drains, and usually they come on very strong, right? They come on very strong because in that original honeymoon phase, when everything is kind of flowing and everything is perfect, she thinks you are that future guy that she's been imagining for the longest time. She thinks, oh, this might be that guy, because we're not having any issues, we're not having any problems, everything is perfect, and you'll see that as soon as some problems come, as soon as something hits, her whole demeanor changes. It's not meant to be, you know. Uh, you'll see her. Yeah, I see these garbage women on Instagram and TikTok sometimes giving dating advice, and it's like the most stupid black and white, refuse to take accountability advice you'll ever hear in your life. It's so bad. If he didn't, you need to leave him right now and block him. Like some 22, 23-year-old bimbo in California who made this video, and these videos that these girls make, the reason why, you see some of these girls, they have a lot of followers. They have a lot of followers, and they're popular. And the reason why they become popular is because women that are dealing with breakups, right? They can you know cope with their ego by watching this stuff, right? It's different than when you actually go and process grief. It's painful because grief, you have to break through grief. You need to reclaim your soul. You need to let go of the future that you had. You have to let go and forgive the other person and yourself, right? A lot of times we don't want to forgive ourselves, and ourselves are the most people to forgive. We need to go through the grief, and to release the grief, we have to kind of forgive other people, and wish them the best and pray for them, and thank them for coming into our lives, no matter how messy it is. That's why, some of these guys, they're never the same after the divorce, because the divorce is so brutal and nasty. It's like, how can I forgive this chick? She left me for this guy. She took my kids from me. She bankrupted me. She spread lies about me. She took me to court. It's get it? Like, how can you forgive that? It's a lot easier to forgive, somebody you had a 2-month, 3-month relationship with than it is someone who you had kids with, and they just showed this different side after the divorce. But the whole point of the forgiveness is that you're not letting this pain consume you anymore. You're freeing yourself from it, right? But it's hard. It's uncomfortable. It comes in waves. It's not like you can even sit down in one day and deal with it all. This is sometimes, a 30-day to 6-month process, where some days are great, some days it creeps back in, some days are great, some days they creep back in. And it's a difficult thing, and men, we can handle traumatic experiences a lot better than women. Women can't. Women are more delicate, women are more soft. All these women out here, oh, I'm an alpha bitch. No, 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 you're not. You're damaged. You're damaged. You know what I mean? You're putting on this facade, this play, so you can cope with what you're not ready to process. You get what I'm trying to say? And these broken women, man, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They usually have high body counts. They lack accountability. They are, for the most part, prostitutes. You know what I mean? They sort of gamble their pussies on the dating market to guys they think they can latch on. They want to be married, but they don't really want to be the wife. You know what I mean? They want to be married so that they don't feel the shame of being 30 years something and not being married, not having kids. Because there's a shame for that. When a woman is older, it's like, well, you have no kids, you're not married. Like, there's some pressure on them, but they're not going to do what needs to be done to make that marriage work, because you need accountability. Both people need accountability. They live in this world where there's a guy out there who just reads their mind, and everything just kind of, works out perfectly on their own. And that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. That's not how it works at all. And these girls, basically, you have to learn how to spot them. They have high body counts. High body counts, like look at their social media and look at the comments, and how much of it is guys. Look at their pictures. Like, look at their guy to girl ratios on their pictures, right? So you click on it, see who liked it, and you see like 90% are guys. And then you click their profiles and you see that she's liking their pictures. And it's like, how do you know all these people? Like, what is your occupation, which would have you knowing all these guys, right? Usually what it is they're on these dating apps and they have put their Instagram in their bios, and all these guys are just finding their Instagram bios and messaging them on Instagram. You know what I mean? And you have to get this, you have to be honest with yourself and spot these people and understand most of them are just recreational use only. You cannot build a long-term future with them unless they're willing to do their own work. Are like, when you meet them, are they already trying to work on themselves? Are they, when you ask them about their ex-boyfriends, do they say, oh, well, he was a narcissist, oh, well, he was a this, he was a that, he cheated on me, he lied to me, all this shit they say, but there's no accountability. It's never like, yeah, I was difficult, I was took him for granted. There's usually none of that stuff. There's usually none of that stuff. The only thing is that you see from them is that they, sorry, this guy drove by, he threw my train of thought off. But like I was saying, there's no accountability on their end. Because another thing with this could be its video on its own, but women hate accountability because with accountability comes shame and guilt, right? Because these girls go through their lives thinking they're perfect. I don't do anything wrong. She's a bitch, she's a this, oh, he was a this, he was a that, right? And when you take accountability and you say that, no, I messed up, there starts to be these flashbacks of all these other times you messed up. And if you're a girl who spent, or a person in general who spent decades not taking accountability, when you open that door of accountability, there's a lot of things that you have to start being accountable for. And that feeling of shame that comes with it, and guilt, like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that to that person. They didn't deserve it. Oh my God, I really fucked that person up. It's too much for them. They don't want to deal with it. And you'll see a lot of women in life, angry women, girls that are angry, they're going through cycles of anger, guilt, shame, back to anger. Because as soon as they fall back into the shame and guilt, because they do, once the night, settles down and it's quiet and they're all alone and their mind quiets and the distractions quiet, they do start to reflect a bit, but they would rather be at anger because being angry feels better than dealing with shame and guilt, right? But above anger is, grief. You get what I'm trying to say? So they don't want to get to the grief because the grief is a different kind of pain. So they want to stay in the anger, and then eventually the guilt and the shame pass on, and they end up in these cycles. They have to stay. They have to keep themselves very distracted. They got to lie to themselves a lot, and it is what it is. People got to do what they want to do. You can't save people. You can't save people at all. You have to just focus on yourself. You got to draw your power back into yourself. And if you get into one of these relationships with broken women, and the signs are there, and they don't want to deal with the boundaries you set, and they don't want to acknowledge their faults and say, yeah, I understand, I'm working on it. If they want to just be like, well, that's just how I am, you know what I mean? Get going, because those people will have you, and those people will end up having you in therapy, you know what I mean? Because they do a lot of damage to guys out here. A lot of guys chase, beg. They don't really, keep their power and draw their power and just tell themselves, all right, I tried, but it is what it is. I guess I'm going to move on. And they end up really hurting themselves trying to make sense of this, And Yeah, that is that, guys. Last week was a bit of a difficult week for me. I was dealing with some shit, but I'm good now. I'm strong now, and I'm gonna be blasting out videos this week. I'm gonna be doing a lot of videos this week. I have more time too. Last week I was working a lot. I had to witness a death. It was pretty bad. Um, yeah, somebody got in an accident, and I saw it. And they died. It was pretty bad. But it is what it is. I don't know why. Sometimes it feels like death follows me around some days. It's crazy. And yeah, I just had to take some time off. I tried to make a video, and it wasn't really how I wanted it to come off. There's a way I like to talk. I want people who watch these videos to be like, look at me when I'm in my zone, when I'm in my power. And I want to say, guys, thank you guys so much. You guys are making some of my videos, you got viral. I love it. I love you guys. I love all the comments. I read all the comments. I screenshot a lot of comments. Some of you guys have sent me amazing messages, and I screenshot them. I keep them. You know, you guys are amazing. I can't wait to do more for you guys. I can't wait to put out more videos. And you guys leave comments. Tell me what you guys are interested in me talking about, what you guys like, what you guys don't like. And I got one or two Thailand videos coming this week. I have one or two, or maybe just one big passport bro uh, video coming this week. But I'm thinking about breaking up that passport bro video into, like, a couple different ones instead of just one really long one. I think it's better if I just break that one down. And yeah, I'm still going to talk about, women in relationship dynamics, because I think it's important for guys. And I think I have a lot of experience with that stuff. And I've learned a lot about that stuff. And I just naturally enjoy it. There's just something very interesting about the relationship dynamics to me, just psychology in general, even. Before relationship dynamics, I was really interested in consumer psychology. What makes people buy? Why people buy? This and that and that and this. So we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. We're gonna be doing a lot of stuff. I'm going all in on the channel. You know, I'm going all in on the channel. It's the second month now, but I'm gonna go all in on this channel. It's gonna be a big, big, big part of my purpose these days. Uh, Growing this channel, giving value, creating content, creating video, and that's that, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Nav Sultan. This is Sultanic Thoughts.